Hey folks, Compost Happens Part 15 coming up. Stay tuned. Well, hey there folks, Tip here, Stupid Gardener. Just want to give you an update on the worm bin. We started this worm bin middle of May, and now it's about September 6th. So we're coming up on 4 months. It's a good time to check out the worm bin, see how we're doing, kind of share the pros and cons, and give you a look at the inside the worm bin and what's falling through and how the worms are doing. Okay folks, now here's the inside of the worm bin, and as you can see, I add this shredded paper. I add a bunch each week when I feed them, and I feed them once a week, usually on a Thursday. I'll come out here and just feed them and check on them. And so this is probably 4 or 5 inches of shredded paper, and underneath that is where I put all the food and everything, just to get them to come to the top. But the worms love this shredded paper, and they really work at it too. And these are the red Wiggler worms, and I think I bought like 1,000 of them. And they have multiplied all the way through here, and I'll dig down here a little bit and I'll show you the food that I just put in here yesterday. Okay, I just threw these cucumbers in here yesterday, and I don't know if you can see it all, but there are just a whole load of worms around this. There's a whole bunch of them here. Let me pull them up here and get you to look at them here. And I just put these in here yesterday, and they just came right to it. And they love cucumbers, and they love the cucumber skins and everything. And we grew a lot of cucumbers this year, so we had a whole lot of kitchen scraps, and they just really go to town on this. And so far so good with the feeding them. Just feeding them once a week. I don't want to overfeed them, but they are doing great so far. And I try and leave them alone as much as possible. I just come in here once a week, just so I'm not disturbing them. Okay, so let's go over what we want to come out of this worm bin, and you know what's going to fall through there. And I keep these 2 tubs down here, and that's where I want all the worm castings and all that compost to fall down through there. And on the bottom there, I have some hardware cloth, which is this right here. I guess you call it chicken wire or whatever, or rabbit netting or whatnot like that. But those, these little spaces here, they're about 1/2 inch. And that's where I want all the worm castings to fall down between those into those little buckets there. And that way there I can pull those out. And I check them once a week, and I have a little bit falling down, not that much, but you know, I really don't want a lot to fall down right now. I really want that, you know, about a year or so, maybe in the springtime, to really start harvesting a lot of those worm castings. But there's a little bit in there, and I'll pull them out and I'll throw them around some flowers or some plants out here. But it's great fertilizer. So, let me dig down. I'll pull out some of the stuff that's on the bottom just to show you what's on the bottom there and how this is, what the worms are actually doing for us. Okay, so I dug down just a little bit, and this is what I pulled off kind of close to the bottom. And as you can see, there are some worms in here, and I'll throw them back in there because, like I said, I don't like to disturb them. But this is what we want to get out of there, is this soil right here. And I put a small layer of compost on the bottom of this when I started the worm bin, just to get the worms going. And I think there's a little bit of peat moss in there too. But the worms have done a great job in breaking this down. So I mean, this is perfect organic fertilizer to put around your plants. And these worms, these little red Wiggler worms, are going like crazy in there. So so far so good. This is really what we want. And I will dump all this back inside the worm bin, because I want to get these worms back with all their friends so they can get together and multiply and just keep on going. Okay, so wrapping up everything, kind of the pros and cons. So far, I think the worms are breaking everything down. We're going to get some good soil out of there for our garden and everything. Only issue I had in the beginning was with ants. Within 2 or 3 weeks, a whole bunch of ants got in there. And but I put in some diatomaceous earth, and also I saw online you can get like cornmeal and just spread that around there, and that took care of the ant problem. I guess when they eat the cornmeal, it kills them, I guess. But that seemed to take care of it. You also want to keep it moist. So I keep a spray bottle over there, and I'll spray some water on it. Also, I'll grab a whole bunch of ice, and after I feed them, I'll just put that ice on top there and spread that around, and that melts and kind of works its way down, so it keeps it moist but not too wet that they drown. Also, it looks like the worms are reproducing, because every once in a while I'll see little baby worms about that big. So that's a great sign that the worms are feeding, they're eating, and they're multiplying, because we want as many worms as possible in there, and we want that to grow and grow, because I want that whole bin just filled up with worm castings and all that compost when they break everything down. That's really what I want. I may eventually have to maybe go underneath there and cut these holes a little bit bigger so more falls down, but I really want to wait until probably till the springtime and just see how everything is breaking down. And this was a very inexpensive project to do. All the wood there I got from work, and just whipped it together. It's totally out of square, but it works. And I think the only thing I had to spend money on was just the worms. I think we're like 25, 30 bucks or something like that. So it wasn't that bad. And this netting, the hardware cloth is, I had to spend a little money on, but I use this all the time for other stuff around the yard here. So it really wasn't much of an expense. So you can do this cheaply. If you go online in different YouTube channels, I mean, people go crazy over vermicomposting, they call it, and they really totally 1000% into it. But I think the best thing to do is just put them in a bucket. You can do a container or anything and just do it cheaply. But the main thing to do is just leave them alone. Just feed them once a week. If they're not reproducing enough, you may want to feed them more, but just leave them alone. I check them once a week, and I don't even think about them again, and just let them do what they want to do. Because every time you go in there and you scrape down, the worms just scatter, and you just kind of want to leave them alone. And like I said, they love the cucumbers. I've been putting in banana peels, apple peels, and different things like that, and they just go nuts for it. They're really working it down. And I don't want to overfeed them, but I don't think I'm overfeeding them at all. Like I said, I just put in the cucumbers in there yesterday, and there's a big glob of worms all around it. So the worms are doing what worms do. So, but we'll revisit this. I'll probably do another video maybe in the winter time, going into the springtime maybe, and just see how we're doing and how much we're getting out of there. So it's just another way that you can feed your garden, feed your plants, with the worm castings, and kind of excited to see what happens down the line. So, well, I guess I'll sign off from here. So if you like the video, please hit that like button. If you got a comment, please put it down below. If you're a vermicomposting person, or you like worm bins, I'd love to hear your comments, and let me know how long it took you to get all the worm castings to feed your garden. So I appreciate everyone watching, and if you're not a subscriber, please do, and I'll see you on the next one. This is Tip from the Stupid Gardener. Everyone take care. God bless everybody.